Hello ladies and gentlemen, to you all beautiful freedom fighters from across this planet and all the left-wing trolls and Islamists and anybody who hates life and freedom. Waiting in the live chat to cause trouble. We have a lot to discuss in this live stream. We have some updates from South Africa. The ANC government have gone full-on IRGC. Basically, they're obviously in the pockets of the Iranian regime and Qataris. Well, Qatar is also in the pockets of Iran, but that's all a different discussion. We have some update from what the government in South Africa are now going to be doing, officially speaking, in regards to Jewish citizens of South Africa who are against Islamists and Hamas and who want to support the IDF in Israel. They're going to be arresting every single person now. That's normal, apparently. Naledi Pandor, who's the foreign minister in South Africa, has made this recent announcement. The interesting thing about this situation is with the current structure of the geopolitical allies that you have with the United Nations and everything else since 1944-45 onwards, is you have countries, most normal countries, have allies, and they also allow dual citizenship, for example, sometimes. And they also allow you, as a citizen of that country, to vocally, verbally, or even physically support allies. So I am allowed, as a British citizen, if somebody in France is in trouble, or the French government, I'm allowed to show support. I'm allowed to send aid. I'm allowed to do whatever, right? To support the ally, as long as there's a common enemy. Whether you like it or not, that's the situation. Now, some countries, some governments want to go towards more cancelling dual citizenships and basically being isolationist. Fair enough. If you want to do that, as long as you have the consent of the public. South Africa as a country are still out there, and they have allies who are the Eastern globalists. That's why we now have the foreign minister, Naledi Pandor, saying, I have already issued a statement alerting those who are South African and are fighting alongside or in the IDF, Israeli Defense Force. We are ready. When you come home, we are going to arrest you. So this isn't just a statement about those serving in the IDF. Having said that, as I said, some people around the world want to change their own government policies, saying, well, we shouldn't have dual citizenship. But if you have dual citizenship, it's not necessarily those who are serving in the IDF. It's anybody fighting alongside them and supporting them. That is a problem that South Africans are now going to be doing. And of course, Naledi Pandor. Let's go to the video we have from the speech. Pay attention to towards the end of the speech. It's a few seconds. The announcement. Look how happy the pro-Palestinian sides are.
I've already issued a statement alerting those who are South African and who are fighting alongside or in the Israeli Defense Force. We are ready. When you come home, we're going to arrest you.
See the ending? So when Naledi Pandor finished the speech, the announcement, this is what we had. Now, those who are isolationists and believe that, yeah, it makes sense what she says, you shouldn't have dual citizenship to support your other country, right? If there was consistency, I fully understand that point of view. The same ANC government are promoting and advocating for people, dual citizenship, and the Arabs to go and help Gaza. See the problem? See the double standards? If they were consistent and said, okay, well, we just want to be an isolationist country, no South African citizens should be able to help or aid Iran or Qatar or Yahya Sinwar or Hezbollah or anyone, then at least it'll be consistent. At least we'd say, oh, the reason they're going to be also be against the Jews, basically supporting Israel, is because they're consistent. They don't want anyone to support any foreign forces or any sort of foreign entity. No, they're not consistent. They're in fact actually promoting and advocating for support when it comes to the Middle East because they are in the pockets of the Iranian regime. We are going to talk about these nutters. Of course, let's not forget about the reality of the situation, which is, again, goes back to what's going on in Gaza. But you have to talk about the roots, which is this. That's Pandor on the left. Look at her. What a loser. Visiting her Iranian counterpart. Oh, of course, she has to cover her. She has no hair. What do you... Why is she wearing a headscarf? She's got no hair. It makes no sense. Oh, it's so stupid. The whole thing is so stupid. But of course, they're loving it. They lap it up. They're a bunch of sycophants. Obviously, on a daily basis, we criticize the Western globalist nutters. But let's have a laugh at the Eastern globalist nutters. This is just hilarious. What is this? Having said that, the ANC government does not represent everybody in South Africa, and the Islamic occupiers of Iran, the Iranian regime, does not represent everybody in Iran. We've already shown you evidence, for example, in the uprising continues in Iran, obviously with little coverage because they've banned all the media. But we have seen some footage coming out. For example, obviously you've seen this in a football stadium in Tehran, Stadium Azadi, that the football fans go against their own government line, and they were chanting, you can shove that Palestinian flag up your... Yeah. That is the difference between the Iranian people and the Islamic regime of Iran. Same difference when it comes to a lot of good patriotic people in South Africa against the ANC government. Now, we know everything goes back to Iran. We know that's why these people, the sycophants, are getting paid, same as Qatar, getting paid by Iran to cause trouble. Now, the other puppets in the Middle East are these nutters who are still covering their faces even in the middle of summer, which will be boiling and sweaty. I don't know, they're idiots. Anyway, they have released a statement, Hamas, on the unity of the Palestinians issue, right? We, in the Islamic resistance movement, applaud the responsible national stance of the families and clans of Gaza, which decisively rejected to engage with the malicious schemes of the Zionist occupation. For the record, Gaza has been managed by Hamas since 2005-06. There was no occupation. Anyway, these schemes aim to create abnormal coordinating bodies outside the Palestinian national line, emphasizing the families and clans' support for the resistance, the government and its police and security forces, and their refusal of the occupation's attempt to tamper with the Palestinian national line. This authentic position of the families and clans of Gaza proves the unity and cohesion of our Palestinian society behind the choices of resistance and national unity. It highlights the pivotal national role that families and clans play as a safety valve for the internal front, protecting the backs of their righteous sons in the resistance. Just the sons, not the daughters. So sexist, right? Who bravely confront the brutal Zionist aggression on the Gaza Strip. You do realize why this happened, right? It's because of the last few weeks, again, as we've been reporting on this channel over the last few months, there is, again, the uprising in Gaza continues. It's a small group, obviously, but the residents in Gaza are fighting against Hamas. The fun thing about this thing is the fact that the Western leftists are completely ignoring it, saying, yeah, no, everybody loves Hamas. Yeah, no, really? Have you seen the young people in Gaza? Obviously, they're getting completely eliminated by the Hamas leadership every time they come on the streets. But it's not really a good situation. We know that they are losing the unity. They have lost the support of their own people, not necessarily because every single Palestinian has now decided not to be an extremist. No. but they've lost support. There is division inside the leadership of Gaza. We don't even know where Yahya Sinwar is, for example. He's still hiding like a mouse in the tunnels. Having said that, there are so many other issues because these people are operating based on deep ideologies. Since the days of Karl Marx and Adolf and Nietzsche and all those guys, they are misinterpreting every single thing that's happened throughout history by creating lies and lies and lies. Everything is based on lies. And by the way, let's not forget again, throughout the 20th century, the Western globalist forces also learned some of those tactics. We've heard so many lies from the Western side over the years. When the Brits and the Americans were causing chaos in the Middle East all those years ago, and they said, well, we were just helping, we were liberating, everything is fine. Really? How was the oil? Obviously, the backlash continued and continued, and now we have to deal with these nutters, the Eastern globalists versus the Western globalists. And some people think they have to pick a side. No, reject both sides. It's bad, naughty. Anyway, what's going on? Super chat, Brent, thank you very much from New Zealand, saying, does this not break international and UN laws? Not necessarily, I guess. I mean, we could potentially, but not on the surface, because they could just say we are introducing new treason laws, and if any Jewish person decides to oppose Hamas and Islamists, then we will just arrest them. So they can just redefine extremism. Just like how we've done it here, they could just do it like that. June Duffy says, Maya, please, can you finally explain the difference between Muslim and Islam? Can't seem to get my head around it. So Islam is the actual ideology, and Muslim is the follower of the ideology. Well, because Islam obviously has parts, the faith and based on the book, but also the ideology. So Muslim is basically someone who follows both the faith and the ideology and everything. But then you have also Islamists, which is actually the political ideology, as in someone who is actually a supporter or promoter of the ideology. You don't have to be a Muslim to be an Islamist. So some Islamists are Muslim. A lot of the Islamists are not Muslim. George Galloway, for example. Jihadi George, as I call him. Because when it comes to Islamism, that's just the pure ideology of it. That basically, like Marxism or communism, you don't have to be a Russian or Chinese from the 20th century to be a communist. Yeah, you can be Italian and you can be a communist as well. Anyway. Lady Yorkshire is confused for some reason. We need context in the live chat. Otherwise, I don't know how to respond to it. Anyway, we have someone, Blue Lady from South Africa. I lived in South Africa for quite a few years. I loved it. Such a beautiful country. But I began to feel unsafe after my husband passed away. So I returned to the UK. I still miss going to the farm. That's a shame. The whole country has changed a lot, obviously, even since I visited a while ago. Anyway. Yeah, we got more people trying to explain the difference between Islam and Muslim. It's not a different thing, it's just the wording. Communism, communist. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see what's going on. What is this? Sam says, Muhammad, Muhammad gave the land to the children of Israel. It's stated in the Quran. It mentions children of Israel 40 times, yet Palestine isn't mentioned because it didn't exist. Obviously, yeah, because it never existed. It was never a thing. Also, people forget, until 20th century, the word Palestinian, which was obviously the area at the time, because of obviously they changed the wording of it, it wasn't what it means today. Until then, 20th century, the word Palestinian meant anybody who lives there, who's from that tribe. That included Jews, Christians, and Arabs, and Muslims, basically. Then suddenly, since essentially, not necessarily even 1948, but definitely since the 60s, when they stole the flag of Jordan, just removed the star and said, that's the flag of Palestine. That was when they decided to start doing gaslighting, and they decided to completely rewrite history and say the word Palestinian means you have to be a Muslim Arab with a lot of hair on your face, big and smelly, and you have to do fasting once a year for a month, but then eat a lot after the fasting is broken. The whole thing is stupid. But that's where we are now. So they completely rewrote history, and now the word Palestinian it implies that, oh, well, they have to be an Arab Muslim. That's it. That wasn't the case before. You can't rewrite history, but they've done it. Anyway, I blame the Romans, by the way. Blame everything on the Roman Empire. It's always easier. And since then, blame everything on the French. That's also easy. Dave says, oh yes, let's all believe the Quran when it states its followers to lie. Yeah, it's probably best not. It's best to question everything and everyone. All the books, all the ideologies. TMB forever. Didn't the Roman Empire name it? Yeah, exactly. The Philistines. There is no P in Arabic, by the way, so I have to say Philistines. Alex says, love the way the Muslims kick off about colonialism in Palestine, but they are happy to colonize everywhere, but also openly promoting their own agenda that, yes, we want to turn your country into an Islamic country. France, the UK, Sweden. I mean, they're not even hiding it. The original idea of a one world government came from the Islamic side. They literally started an empire. They went all the way to Spain. They're not the underdogs. You give them a little bit of power, they'll take over the world. It's not every single Muslim, by the way. It's the Islamic world in general. It's the thing. We say these sort of things, and then political left will have a meltdown saying, Maya Tusi started an extremist group. The far right are here to target random Muslims. Who's going to do that? Also, who has the energy to even bother doing that sort of nonsense? We are British. We don't do this sort of nonsense. We don't, again, some of the purple hair, avocado coffee drinking nutters in the name of Antifa, they are the violent ones. They are the authoritarian ones. They are the ones who want to promote aggression and force. We don't do that. We just want the system to work in a better way. We just want to take our country back. That's all we want to do. And if everybody behaved the same way, if everybody believed in our values and actually believed in traditional values that make this country great, if you integrate, we will be fine with it. But that's not really the case, is it? Rant over. Super chat from Aaron Bacon. Thank you very much, saying, couldn't we impose a travel ban on those anti-Jew countries and revoke any visas and citizenship of those from the countries holding? But that you do realize that so many people who are here are from anti-Jew countries. We're going to have to basically mass deport so many people because whether you like it or not, anti-Semitism is massively on the rise in a way that a lot of people only saw it from the 7th of October. And they were surprised about it. And I'm not talking about what's happening in the Middle East. I'm talking about what's happening in Australia, South Africa, Canada, Denmark, everywhere. I noticed it even more when it came to the World Cup a couple of years ago in Qatar. When I've told you this story before, guys. When I saw Jewish reporters, TV reporters, outside the stadiums a few times, different games, different nationalities, interviewing people, football fans, nothing political, just ask simple questions. Did you like the game? And you can, I think it's still on YouTube anyway, the collection of these interviews. Jewish reporters and TV, a lot of the football fans from various countries, all the countries, discovered the reporter was Jewish, they had a meltdown. That was when I realized, obviously we knew that anti-Semitism has not been eliminated like any other hatred, but it's kind of, they seem to be very confident and proud again to come out. For a while, since the 40s and 50s, it became a bit of a taboo, right? But now it's coming back. And the interesting thing about it is that you can't criticize the anti-Semites. Having said that, if I or Douglas Murray goes out to criticize a book or an idea, whether it's Islam, whether it's Karl Marx or anybody, just criticizing it, saying we don't like these ideas, then we get accused of doing hatred against individuals. Unless I see an individual who's doing something wrong, I don't care. I do not target individuals who happen to be Muslim or Christian or Jewish or even communist. I have some of my good friends are communists. They seem to be misguided, but they're still friends. I don't care about individual attacks. Do not do individual attacks. If an individual who happens to be Muslim or Marxist or vegan, if you see them doing something bad, doing treason, then yes, stand up to them, target them, deport. But we are fighting against the actual ideas that are affecting our values, and the political establishment are ignoring it. The Western globalists are wanting it to actually happen, to disrupt the system, because this is the only way you could bring down sovereignties, nationalism, and individual liberty. That way the whole world would be mixed, like a messed up cocktail, and then you can just slowly eliminate flags and borders. And then we could just go towards some sort of nonsensical Star Trek fantasy world. This is what they want. They don't want nationalism. They are massively afraid of national competition. They think if we become sovereign again and patriotic, 5 years from now, England is going to invade France. I wish. We are not going to invade France, unfortunately. One of these days. Bring back the British Empire. It's a joke. If you bring it back, I'll lead it. But otherwise, I don't trust Rishi Sunak or Sadiq Khan or Keir Starmer, or even King Charles. I don't trust King Charles to lead the British Empire. You kidding me? He's going to turn the whole Commonwealth into vegans. Also, no disrespect to all the vegans watching this. Nope, I have no problem with individuals who are vegans. I have a problem with the political vegans who just come in your face and try to throw blood at you or whatever they do. We got Charlie says, I'm vegan and I'm not pro-Islam. See, not all vegans are bad. Same applies. We've seen so many people in the live chat who watch this channel who don't agree with everything I say, but they say we are left-wing or we are Muslim, but we still watch you. Like, good. Thank you. You don't have to agree with everything I say. That would be very dangerous. That's how cults start. Anyway, what is going on? John wants to deport Sunak. No, actually, I was going to say don't do it because he's got a lot of money. He will pay taxes, but he doesn't pay much taxes, does he? For a very, very rich man, he doesn't pay much taxes in this country. Anyway, Michelle has just posted all the flags. We got the Union flag, St. George's, yeah, basically UK, England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. We forgive you. Forgive and forget. River says most vegans are nutters. Thing is, they just can't not mention that they're vegans. That's the thing. They just have to mention they're vegans. Nobody asked. It's fine. Some of them are good people. Veronica says, the term Palestinian people has been invented by the Soviet KGB in 1960. Not really, but okay. This is a historical fact. We used to have training camps for Palestinians. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're trying to mean. This is about, this did happen, but not in terms of being invented. Because obviously the Romans invented it. I know what you mean. Veronica's right. This was in the 60s. The Soviets were behind the operation that also resulted in the Palestinian flag to be created. There was no Palestinian flag until the 60s anyway. So Veronica's right about all the efforts that the Soviet did. And the whole point of CIA, with the help of the French and the Brits, MI6, I've said this before so many times, by the way, when they decided to go against the Shah of Iran, the last king and monarchy in Iran, and they didn't like that he was getting too close to Israel as allies, and all contracts were coming to an end. But the Western globalists were seeing what was going on. They could see in Iran there was a massive uprising led by the communists, Soviet Union communists, and Mujahideen and all the nutters. And then they decided to go and get the Islamists, obviously Ayatollah Khomeini, from Paris to go back to Iran to take over because they thought they could control them. It went the whole thing horribly wrong because obviously the next day the Iranian regime said death to America. We know that story. They also decided to declare a movement to spread Islam and Islamism, the Muslim empire, by in the name of Shia Muslim. Khomeini did this. And then that's why they then started the operation to create Hamas and Hezbollah. Obviously, it took a while. But who helped them? The Soviet Union. They're saying communists. So the CIA, the Western globalists, were trying to stop the commies from taking over Iran. They got the Islamists. They're like, yeah, we could use them as puppets. Didn't work. At the end of the day, yes, Iran was not controlled, well, taken over by the commies, but Iran got in the pockets of the Soviet Union commies anyway. And now they created all these alliances. Like, so the Western globalist side has been a bunch of idiots. Absolute stupidity. Basically, ever since the British Empire ended, everything gone downhill. Because Americans don't know how to run the world. Firstly, they shouldn't run the world. But now that they've been out there doing the world police game, they messed that up. Absolutely. Not only they betrayed their people in Iran, but of course their own people. The one thing that the Americans had, the American establishment, was keep America great. That was usually the default position for decades and decades. The fact that you have a candidate, or now obviously a former president, who is running on a platform of make America great again, that is a sad reality of how the system is in America. You should never have the need to have a candidate running on a platform of make America great again. It should always be keep America great. You messed it up. Every single one of them, red and blue. Whether it was W. Bush, whether it was Obama, whether it was Clinton, every single person over the last 30, 40 years. Anyway, we'll keep you guys posted on this issue of what's going on in South Africa. And of course, those who have left South Africa, Jewish people who have gone to Israel, they don't even have to serve in the IDF. If they return to South Africa, they will be arrested. That is now the official new policy. Even if they go to Israel to show support and obviously aid the Israelis, then they will be arrested when they return to South Africa. This is the ANC government in the pocket of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.